new book, which is a collection of Zen poems. I thought I'd set the context from my previous book that I didn't get to read here because of the storm. It's called Kung Fu of the Dark Father. I grew up in Atwater, Merced County, just on Highway 99. And oddly enough, I was exposed to Japanese culture a lot because my father was in the Korean War and came back in love with everything Japanese. And it was very strange growing up in a small conservative town where he'd do that. And he was in love with the TV show Kung Fu. So this poem, it's a series of kind of, in a Jungian kind of way, dark characters and the fertile, fecund aspect of the shadow in life. And my father was that for me. Kung Fu of the Dark Father. Husking almonds on black industrial tarp spread across the living room after harvest from our 9-acre orchard where my father, a disillusioned junior high school teacher, played at being a farmer. I wanted him to be happy. Watched as he drove the broken down tractor, furrowed the San Joaquin dirt for irrigation from the canal adjacent. I loved lifting the large wooden-handled mallet with the thick black rubber head, walloping the tough tree trunks to rain a shower of almonds down on the tarps that we'd haul into our living room for this husky. My father's black moods haunted our home, but I loved how he loved watching Kung Fu on TV, while the whole family tore the velvet shells from the fallen hard nuts as the Shaolin priest wandered the dusty west wild with danger, throwing menacing cowboys to the dirt with a deft flinch of his shoulder. How my father related to this orphaned monk lost in the same California towns surrounding us. Everyone looking for gold, desperate to start again. After the show, my father would sometimes rise from the sagging black leather couch, place his hand on my shoulder like the Shaolin's old blind master from China and say, "Ah, grasshopper, the supple willow does not contend against the storm." Though I wanted him to fight, grab the outlaw's gun, kill the moods that haunted him so. Instead, he'd tussle my hair, shuffle to bed, while I tore the velvet armor from one last almond, swallowed the dark nut whole. My father was a tremendous inspiration in my life, too. He moved up to Mariposa near Yosemite and built a whole Japanese village of hexagons that he lived in. He called it Shangri-La, after his favorite childhood story. So he was a very inspiring character too, and somehow, eventually led me to, in addition to being a therapist and a poet, I'm a Zen student. I was talking with Lee, about that. And I studied with the Pacific Zen Institute, John Tarrant up in Santa Rosa. He's a poet also. They're very connected to Chinese Chan, which is the same thing as Zen, just oriented in China. And he put it to me, he said, well, you're a poet. He said, there's a long tradition, centuries old, of people writing poems in response to traditional koans. Why don't you do it? It's not all those old masters did it. And I said, are you kidding me? But that's what I did. So, and then when there was a call for what they call cross-genre work, God knows what that is, but from Saddle Road Press in Hawaii, this is all kind of Pacific Rim inspired, they wanted to publish it. So what it is, and I'll just read you some samples. The Gateless Gate, it was a traditional 48 koan collection that came from Japan and ancient Chinese koans. And koans are teaching stories, little wisdom riddles, and they're supposed to kind of confuse you and evoke some sort of inner experience. And they're supposed to be somewhat humorous and paradoxical. So I'm going to read you the weirdest one in the collection. That's the first one. And the koan is called moo, Joshu's moo. Moo means no. It's a negation of too much intellectual thinking about stuff. So the koan goes, a monk asked Master Joshu, does a dog have Buddha nature or not? And Joshu answered, moo. Which is supposed to be contradictory because of course a dog has Buddha nature. But the nature of asking the question and getting too obsessed about it was the point. So I wrote a poem from the dog's vantage point. Joshu's dog speaks. No is all I hear all day long because the poor monk won't shut up. Some Zen master too, he knows I'm more Buddha than this ornery student will ever be. Smells too clean, never looks at me directly. But my master keeps trying, gotta love him for that. Moo, moo, moo to every question the asshole asks. Don't get me wrong, I love assholes. They're my main way of finding out what's going on in the world. Around the corner, on the next block. But isn't it obvious? I mean, my master's answer, it's just his way of barking. Like, shut the fuck up, it's not even a question, man. There's only one nature. It's not hard to follow. Just stick your nose to the ground, follow the scent, spray your own to accent the fragrance of the other's spot. Keep going. Lick your privates now and then. It's called the way, man.